Right, we're now on the video record. This begins media unit number 1 to the videotape deposition of Leslie Barnett. Today's date is August 13th of 2025. The time on the video monitor is approximately 1:20 p.m. This deposition is being held in the matter of Doris Beaty versus Peggy DeVivo as emergency temporary guardian of Donald S. Pete Beaty et al. My name is Nick DeHaas. I'm the videographer. Your court reporter is Elsa Hernandez. Will counsel please state their appearances for the record, beginning with notice in counsel.
Good afternoon, Rudy Mayer and David DiPietro on behalf of Doris Beaty.
Bill Schifino with the Gunster firm. To my right, Greg Pearson. To his right, Justin Bennett on behalf of the Gunster law firm and the Barnett law firm, and Les Barnett individually.
Josh and Ruby from McDonald Hopkins on behalf of Brian O'Connell as personal representative of the estate of James D. Beaty Jr.
And counsel appearing by Zoom, would you please state your appearance?
Of course, Mark Ragus on behalf of Stephen Beaty, James Beaty, Pete Beaty Ranch LLC, and Pete Beaty Grove LLC.
All right. Will our court reporter please swear in our witness and we can proceed?
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good afternoon, Mr. Barnett.
Mr. Mayor.
We're here on a deposition related to a motion to disqualify the Gunster firm that Doris Beaty filed in an action pending in Polk County. Let me ask you first, you're a licensed attorney in the state of Florida, correct?
I am.
Okay. And how long have you been a licensed attorney?
54 years.
Okay. So you're familiar with the deposition process, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay. Once or twice. All right. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Leslie J. Barnett.
Okay. And what's your business address?
Currently 401 East Jackson Street, Suite 1500.
Okay. And that's the suite where we're presently here today?
That's correct.
Okay. And that's the Gunster law firm?
It is.
Okay. What did you do to prepare for the deposition today?
Just looked at some time records that I had recorded. Spoke with my counsel for a few minutes and nothing more.
Okay. Other than the time records that you referenced, are there any other physical documents that you reviewed in preparation for today?
No.
Were there any electronic files that you reviewed in preparation for today's record?
No.
Okay. No text messages between yourself and Doris Beaty?
No.
No text messages between yourself and Pete Beaty?
No.
What about any emails between either Doris or Pete Beaty?
Nothing.
Okay. What's your current position here at the Gunster firm?
I'm an equity shareholder.
Okay.
I'm a highly paid employee.
Okay. And do you still practice law?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go a little bit over your educational background, starting with college. Could you tell us where you went, when you graduated,
Sure.
ending through law school?
How about if I start with elementary school?
No, please.
No? I went to the University of Florida and got a BA in English literature, prepared me to do absolutely nothing. Then I applied to law school and was accepted at the University of Florida Law School. I attended all 3 years and then went to NYU for an LLM in taxation.
Okay. What year did you graduate from the University of Florida Law School?
1971.
Okay. And when did you obtain the LLM from NYU?
1972.
Okay. And you're a member of the Florida Bar?
I am.
Are you a member of any other bar?
No.
Okay. Are you board certified in any field with the Florida Bar?
No.
Okay. Are you a member of any sections in the Florida Bar?
Tax section and reptile.
Okay. And, okay, how long have you been employed at the Gunster law firm?
Since October of 2022.
Okay. And what practice areas do you work on here at the Gunster firm?
Primarily in the private wealth services, which is wills, trust, estate, probate, trust.
Okay. And where were you employed prior to working at the Gunster firm?
At the Barnett Bolt law firm.
Okay. Do you mind if we refer to the firm as just the Barnett firm? Okay.
It certainly hurts my feelings that it's gone, but it is definitely a good ego trip.
Okay. How many years were you employed at the Barnett firm?
50, I'm 54 now, so 52.
Okay, so 52 years, and that was continuously until you became employed at the Gunster firm?
No, that's not true. I lied. I started in 1972 with a fellow named Hugh Culverhouse, in the Miami office, and I stayed there for almost 2 years, and then I moved to Tampa, and I worked for a law firm of Gordon and Manny, which were 2 Harvard grads that needed a tax lawyer. And then after 14 months there, I was fired, and I went to form my own firm,
Okay. And do you remember what year that was?
1975.
1975. Okay. Did you work in the same practice areas at the Barnett firm that you now work on here at the Gunster firm?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mark this article is Plaintiff's Exhibit 1.
Oh. I thought it would be my picture.
Oh, sorry. That's actually the last copy. I'm so sorry. All right. So the following is an article from the Business Observer dated October 11th, 2022.
Let me interject something.
Yep.
Maybe an overture. We will stipulate he's associated with the Gunster firm and has been since October of 2022. So I think that saves you a lot of time and gets you what you need.
Sure.
But I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, I mean,
what you want to do is, but go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to ask a couple questions about the article. Have you ever seen this article before?
I probably have. I don't remember it.
Okay.
It didn't have my picture. It had my partner's picture.
All right. This article announces that the Gunster firm acquired the Tampa-based Barnett firm. Is that representation here in this article, is that an accurate representation about what occurred?
They hired all my lawyers, most of my lawyers, not all of my lawyers, but they hired them. They didn't acquire the firm itself.
Okay.
I didn't get any money.
Okay, so all the lawyers who were employees of the Barnett firm became employed
Not
with the
all.
Garnett firm? Okay, not all. Okay. Do you recall what attorneys at the Barnett firm did not become employed by the Gunster firm in October 2022?
Those who chose not to come with us primarily was the white-collar defense group, the criminal lawyers.
Okay.
I
And
think
so
they're-
because they were criminal lawyers, they were not offered employment at the
I
Gunster
don't know
firm?
who was offered employment. I just know that they chose not to come.
Okay. And you mentioned that the Barnett firm was not paid in order to do this, to complete this acquisition. Is that correct?
We were hired as employees of the firm. The firm itself was given nothing.
Okay, understood. Were you?
Can
Yeah.
I get a water, Justin?
Yeah. Did you bring clients of the Barnett firm over to the Gunster law firm?
The clients followed me, yes, my clients did, and the clients of the other lawyers that came.
Okay. And so presently you have clients here at the Gunster firm that were once clients of the Barnett firm?
Yes.
Okay. Were you personally involved in the discussions for the Gunster firm to hire the attorneys at the Barnett firm?
We didn't have any input as to which lawyers they were going to accept. They offered all of us
Okay.
a position.
And when did that agreement to hire the Barnett firm attorneys was finalized? When was that finalized?
Check to the form. You can answer.
I didn't know what you said. There's no formal written document that I'm aware of. It's just that they made an offer. We accepted it, and it became effective October 1st of 2022.
Understood. And so each of the attorneys at the Barnett firm have their own individual contracts with the Gunster firm?
Check to the form.
I'm not privy to what they signed. I only know what I signed.
Okay. And how many attorneys were at the Barnett firm on October 1st, 2022, when this...
That transferred over?
Yeah.
The transfer that came over, about 26, 24.
Okay.
I had 30 originally, and I think all but the 4 or 5 criminal guys didn't come.
Understood. How many non-lawyer staff did the Barnett firm have at the time?
30, 40, I'm not sure.
Did any of the non-lawyer staff get offered positions here at the Gunster firm?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember if it was all or some?
I believe it was all.
Okay. I want to ask about physical files that the Barnett firm maintained for its clients prior to October 1st, 2022. Did you maintain physical files for clients?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened to the physical files on October 1st, 2022?
To my knowledge, they were transported to this building or scanned and destroyed.
Okay. And so if you wanted to access a client file for a client of the Barnett firm, would you be able to presently access those physical files?
Direct to the form.
I could,
Okay.
I think. I don't know if they'd be complete, but I would definitely have access to something.
Okay. What about electronic files? Did the Barnett firm maintain electronic files for its clients?
That was in the early days of technology, but we did have some.
Okay. And what happened to the electronic files upon the transfer on October 1st?
I don't know, but my
Okay.
guess is they got transferred as well.
Okay. Would you be able to, if a client of the Barnett firm requested you to access or review their electronic files today, would you be able to access those files?
Some portion, perhaps, if it was scanned.
Understood. While at the Barnett firm, did you use an email, the email address ljbarnett@barnettbolt.com?
Yes.
Okay. And are you still able to access emails from ljbarnett@barnettbolt.com?
Not directly.
Okay.
I think that website's been turned off.
Okay. If a client wanted you to access, or if you needed to access an email that was sent or that you sent from that email address, would you be able to access it today? Indirectly?
I could look for it.
Okay.
I don't know if I could access it, but I could look for it.
Understood. Did the Barnett firm maintain any practices and procedures when it came to engaging a new client?
Yes.
Okay. Did that include the signing of a retainer agreement?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay, so not all the clients of the Barnett firm signed an engagement letter or retainer agreement?
That's correct.
Okay. Was Doris Beaty a client of the Barnett firm prior to its merger with the Gunster firm?
Direct to the form.
Yes.
Okay. And when did Doris Beaty first retain the Barnett firm?
Around 2018 or 19, 2018 or 19.
And do you recall what Ms. Beaty hired the Barnett firm to do?
Yes, yes. I knew Doris very well for a long period of time, and Pete Beaty was declining, and Doris believed that he had lost capacity to some regard, and asked me what her options might be to protect him. And Pete had entered into a pre-need guardianship document that I'd prepared, and Doris was named the pre-need guardian. And we suggested that we have the court appoint her to be the guardian.
Okay. Do you recall whether Doris signed a retainer agreement with the Barnett firm?
I don't.
Okay. And you mentioned that you'd known Doris for a long time. Do you recall when you first met Doris?
Sometime after the Great Recession, 2008, 9 or 10.
Okay. You said Doris may not have signed a retainer agreement or didn't sign one. Do you recall whether you required her to pay a deposit for legal services?
No, I don't recall at all.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that she had hired you in order to, was it to initiate a guardianship proceeding on her behalf for Pete Beaty?
Correct.
Okay. Had you filed guardianships proceedings for other clients in the past?
The firm had. I was not the primary person in that area of the law.
Okay. So prior to that, you'd never handled a guardianship proceeding?
Oh, no, I had, but I was, I had other lawyers that assisted me in that.
Got it. What kind of information did you or the other lawyers require, generally, not specifically Doris's situation, but generally, what kind of information would you require a client to provide in order to assess whether a guardianship proceeding was necessary?
Object to the form.
Their opinion as to the status of the client's condition, both physical and mental.
Anything else?
Not until we petition the court. If the client believed that the potential ward was incompetent, we would ask the court to find out whether or not he was incompetent.
And how would the Barnett firm normally obtain that kind of information from the client? From the client?
We talked to them.
Okay. And were those conversations typically by email, telephone, in person, or all three?
Could be all three.
Okay. Did the Barnett firm use a questionnaire that they provided the client in order to assess whether a guardianship was necessary?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Did you usually require information about the alleged ward's assets in order to determine whether a guardianship was necessary?
In this particular case or generally?
Generally.
Generally, sure.
Did you generally require information about any advance directives that a ward might have that might impact the guardianship case?
Of course.
Okay. And what about the way that their assets were titled? Was that a consideration in filing a guardianship case?
It would be at some point after the determination of incapacity.
Okay. So you would not, generally you wouldn't ask for that information at the outset prior to filing the guardianship proceeding?
No.
Okay. So you mentioned that you'd met Doris perhaps around the Great Recession, maybe 2009, 2010?
Somewhere around there.
Okay. And how did you first meet her?
She was referred to me by another lawyer, I believe.
Okay. And was this for legal work that she needed or for Mr. Pete Beaty?
I think it was only in connection with Pete.
Okay. And so Donald S. Pete Beaty, he had been a client of the Barnett firm, correct?
At that time, 2008-9, or when?
In 2008 or 9.
He became a client.
He
of the
became a
firm.
client, okay.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that Pete Beaty became a client of the Barnett firm?
Correct.
Okay. Had the Barnett firm ever represented an entity affiliated with Pete Beaty?
At that time, when
Yes.
I first started the representation, no. The
Okay.
answer was no.
Okay.
I'd never met Pete before that.
Okay. What about any time after that? Did you ever represent an entity affiliated with Pete Beaty?
I'm sure we did.
Okay. You recall whether you ever represented Pete Beaty Ranch LLC?
Not specifically.
Okay. Do you know if the Barnett firm ever represented Pete Beaty Grove LLC?
I don't recall specifically.
Okay. But the Barnett firm may have done some work for that LLC?
I represented Pete, and if
Okay.
Pete asked me to do something, I would probably do it.
Okay. You recall whether the Barnett firm ever represented Pete Beaty in his capacity as trustee of any trust?
Yes.
What trust did you
Trust that
represent
he
him as
created.
trustee?
The trust that he created.
Okay. Are you referring to a revocable trust? Do you recall specifically what it's called?
Yeah,
Okay.
revocable trust.
All right. And so you represented him as trustee of his revocable trust?
Correct.
Okay. And did the Barnett firm prepare this revocable trust that you're referring to
Yes.
on his behalf? Okay. Without revealing any attorney-client discussions you had with Pete Beaty, what did Pete Beaty first hire the Barnett firm to do in 2009?
To prepare an estate plan for him to help him mitigate his federal estate tax potential liabilities at his death, and the general representation that we do in a private wealth circumstance to have will, trust, advance directive, power of attorney, etc.
Okay, so the hiring of the Barnett firm for estate planning included the preparation of advance directives?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall whether Doris was present for any client meetings between yourself and Pete Beaty?
Yes.
Okay. Was she usually present at those meetings?
Yes.
Okay. Would you discuss attorney-client privilege communications, or discussions in front of Doris?
Object to the form of the question.
They weren't privileged if Doris was present.
Understood. Okay. What other matters, if any, did the Barnett firm handle for Pete Beaty?
Trying to title his real estate, as I remember. He had real estate around the state. And in creation of the trust, we generally, and I presume I did it for Pete as well, tried to get the deeds to transfer the properties into the trust.
Did the Barnett firm prepare the Florida healthcare surrogate dated December 22nd, 2016 for Mr. Beaty?
I can't answer that. If you have the document, I'll confirm.
Do you know whether the Barnett firm prepared a document titled Advance Directive for Pete Beaty?
We generally do. I don't specifically remember it, but if you show it to me, I'll be glad to confirm it. Sure.
What about a declaration naming pre-need guardian dated January 26, 2018?
Yeah, I do remember the preparation of that.
Okay. And why do you remember that one specifically?
Because it became an issue in the guardianship.
Okay. Did you witness Mr. Beaty sign that declaration naming pre-need guardian?
I can't tell you if I did or not. If you
Okay.
have a copy of it, I'll confirm my signature.
Do you know whether or who Mr. Beaty named as his guardian in that document?
I believe it was Doris Beaty.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that Mr. Beaty lacked capacity when he executed that declaration in January 26, 2018?
None at all.
Do you have any reason to believe here today that that declaration dated January 26, 2018 is not valid for any reason?
Object to the form of the question is outside the scope of the agreed-upon parameters for this deposition, which are the motion to disqualify.
Okay. You want to instruct him not to answer?
I'm going
or-
to instruct him to postpone answering the question until you and I have a chat at a break.
Okay, no problem. Did the law firm also prepare a last will and testament for Pete Beaty?
We did.
Okay. Is that the one dated January 26, 2018?
I don't know.
Okay. But you remember preparing a will for Mr. Beaty?
Yes.
Okay, and you remember, and you did that per his instructions?
Yes, after discussion, sure.
And do you recall whether you witnessed him sign that will?
Most definitely would have, because I witnessed all of my clients' wills.
Do you have any reason to believe that Mr. Beaty lacked capacity when he signed that will?
Object to the form of the question, same instruction to the witness.
Okay. Do you recall who was nominated as a personal representative under that last will and testament?
I do not.
Okay. You recall when Pete Beaty passed away?
I was not representing Pete at the time of his death, and I was advised later of his death, post his death. I don't remember the date.
Do you recall how you learned that he had passed away?
I believe maybe Doris called me. I'm not sure.
Who possessed the original of Pete Beaty's last will and testament? Do you recall?
We generally retain them in our firm.
Okay. Do you recall whether you deposited Mr. Beaty's last will and testament with the court after his passing?
It's our standard practice to do so in accordance with the statute, but I don't know specifically if we did.
Do you recall whether his last will and testament was a pour-over will?
Likely it was.
Okay. And do you recall whether the Barnett firm also prepared a fifth amended and restated Donald S. Beaty, a.k.a. D.S. Beaty, revocable trust dated January 26, 2018?
I can't say yes to that because I don't know. There were many amendments.
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Beaty had any estate planning attorney besides the Barnett firm?
Not during my representation of him.
Okay. Do you recall who... I'll strike that. Do you remember whether Doris Beaty was involved in any discussions with you and Pete Beaty regarding the preparation of his revocable trust?
Yes.
Okay. You recall reviewing Pete Beaty's estate planning documents or advance directives when Doris hired the Barnett firm to initiate the guardianship proceeding?
If he had any, I would have reviewed them if they were presented. I don't remember if he came with documents or if I was the initial lawyer to prepare his estate planning documents.
But I mean, in the context of preparing to file the guardianship proceeding, do you know if
The
you...
guardianship?
Yeah, the guardianship. Do you remember
Oh.
if you reviewed Pete's estate plan and advance directives in preparation for filing that guardianship proceeding?
Not specifically.
Okay. You remember discussing Pete Beaty's medical condition with Doris as part of your analysis into filing the guardianship?
I do.
Okay. And what did she say? Do you remember?
He said that Pete was slipping, his memory was failing.
Okay. Do you remember reviewing any medical records in preparation for filing the guardianship?
I do not.
You remember whether you discussed with Doris Pete's advance directives at the time?
No.
Do you know whether Pete's advance directives would have been pertinent in your determination of whether guardianship was necessary?
If you're using the term advance directive, as I understand it, the answer is no, because advance directives deal with end of life.
Okay. What about any declaration of pre-need guardian? Would you have reviewed that?
I would.
Would you have discussed that with Doris?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember who was named in that document?
I believe it was Doris.
Okay. And did you have discussions with Doris about Pete's preference for who should serve as plenary guardian?
Object to the form of the question.
You understand the question?
No, repeat it again.
Okay. Did you discuss with Doris in preparing for filing the guardianship paperwork? Did you discuss Pete's preferences for who should serve as plenary guardian?
I did, and substantiated it with his written document that said that he wanted Doris
Okay.
to be his pre-need guardian.
And when did the Barnett firm cease to represent Doris?
We weren't in there very long. There were a bunch of lawyers that started piling in on Doris, and we got removed.
Okay. Go ahead and show you the statement of account.
Time slips?
Yep.
Thanks.
Got one more. Sorry about that. All right, so this is a statement of account, Bates stamped Gunster 0001 through 000040. And could you tell us what this document is?
This appears to be the printout of our invoices for services rendered in connection with Doris Beatty's as potential guardian for Pete Beaty.
Okay. Did the Barnett firm's billing entries did they transfer with the Barnett firm's transfer to the Gunster firm?
I think so.
Okay. Would the attorneys at the Gunster firm have access to this statement of account today?
Today?
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Okay. So on the upper left-hand corner of the document, it says Doris Beaty with a code B01371. Do you know, is this a client code that the Barnett firm would use?
Yeah, that was the billing number.
Okay. And who would assign that code?
Somebody in my staff.
Okay. And are cases also assigned a project code?
I don't think so. This The project is guardianship of Pete Beaty, 31884.
Okay. Do you know whether there were any matters other than the guardianship of Pete Beaty that the Barnett firm represented Doris Beaty in?
There were none.
Okay. And were the billing entries entered in the statement of account entered contemporaneously with the work performed?
Absolutely.
Okay. And looking at page 1 of the statement account, the earliest billing entry appears to be entered on November 26, 2018, for 2.5 hours on Doris Beaty's account. Do you recall whether you had a conversation prior to November 21st, 2018 with Doris about the need for, or the potential need for a guardianship?
I don't remember, obviously. If it's not recorded here, I mean, I was pretty scrupulous in my billing.
Okay. So the first time that Doris would have contacted you about the potential need for a guardianship is when you would have entered a billing entry for that?
That's correct.
Here on the first entry, it references a telephone conference with Doris regarding Pete's condition and review of Pete's revocable trust. You recall what revocable trust you reviewed as part of this billing entry?
The last one that he signed,
Okay. You recall if it was the Fifth Amended and Restated Trust?
I don't recall.
Okay. Why did you review Pete's revocable trust as part of your representation of Doris Beaty in connection with the guardianship of Pete Beaty?
If a trust was in place and he was incapacitated, the trustee, if it were someone other than Pete, would have to take control of those assets.
Okay. So the way that Pete's assets were titled was pertinent to the guardianship proceeding?
It would become pertinent.
Okay. Did you review any other trusts besides the Fifth Amended and Restated Trust as part of your analysis?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember discussing the revocable trust with Doris Beaty in connection with the guardianship proceeding?
Only to the extent, no, I don't remember it, but I can tell you it would generally be an issue.
Do you recall who the successor trustees of that revocable trust were?
I do not.
Okay. And per this billing entry, you input confirming all assets are owned by the trust and not Pete individually. Do you recall what you did to confirm how Pete Beaty's assets were titled or owned?
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Do you recall why you needed to determine how his assets were titled in preparation for the guardianship case?
The court would have wanted to know what his assets are for the guardianship.
Okay.
For guardian of the property, not guardian of the person.
It also says that you emailed Doris on this November 26, 2018. Do you know whether that email still exists?
I don't know.
Okay. Have you reviewed any emails with Doris since the Barnett firm merged with the Gunster firm?
Object to the form of the question, there was no merger.
Right, we didn't merge.
I'll rephrase, you used the word
We were hired.
transferred or hired,
We
right?
were hired.
Since the
That's
Barnett firm was hired, have you reviewed any
the firm
emails with
wasn't
Doris?
hired. The lawyers,
The lawyers were hired.
Correct.
Since the lawyers were hired,
Yes.
have you reviewed any emails with Doris?
No.
Okay. Do you know whether you would still have access to the emails with Doris if we asked for them?
Probably.
Probably. Okay. Do you know when the Barnett firm first filed the pleadings to actually commence the guardianship proceeding on Doris's behalf?
No, I have no recollection of it, but it might be reflected here.
Okay, so on the second page of the statement of account, on January 25th, 2019, there's an entry for electronically filing pleadings needed to commence the guardianship proceedings. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. You recall whether that was when the Barnett firm filed the guardianship case on Doris's behalf?
Yeah, the lawyer identified there as MLH, She worked for the firm, and she made this time entry.
How many calls did you have with Doris prior to filing the guardianship proceeding on her behalf on January 25th, 2019?
I have no recollection.
Okay. Would the statement of account accurately reflect the number of telephone conferences that were had with Doris?
To the extent that I sought to bill for it, yes.
Okay. Do you remember whether you personally drafted the pleadings necessary to initiate the guardianship?
It's likely I did not.
Okay. Do you recall whether you reviewed them before they were filed?
It's likely I did.
What other attorneys worked on the guardianship case on behalf of Doris?
Rachel Lunsford,
Okay.
Charles Carlson, and MLH, who I don't remember her name. I think she was a lawyer.
Okay. And is Rachel, what's her last name?
Lunsford.
Lunsford. Is she still with the Gunster firm?
She works for the Gunster firm.
Okay. What about Charles?
He does not.
Okay. And you don't remember who MLH is?
No.
Okay.
I see another entry here. VZL, Vanya Lance. There's another lawyer that worked for us.
VZL. Who's that?
Vanya Lance.
Vanya Lance. Is Vanya Lance still with the Gunster firm?
She is not.
Okay. All right. Looking at page 13 of the statement of account,
Oh, baby. Yes.
is the entry dated December 21st, 2020, the last billing entry on the statement of account for Doris Beaty?
Let me catch up with you. Where are you?
Page 13.
Okay.
It appears to be. Unless there's a later one. There's more. I see there are more behind here. Here's one that says Doris Beaty 2019. Is that a duplicate of what is in the preceding 13 pages?
The first 13 pages seem to be a summary, and then you have individual
Oh, the monthlies?
monthlies. Yep.
Yeah, so that would be the last one then.
Okay. You recall when the Barnett firm ceased to represent Doris Beaty in the guardianship proceeding?
Object to the form of the question.
When the court substituted counsel.
Okay. And do you know whether any billing entries here on the statement of account post-date the substitution of counsel in the guardianship case?
I don't know.
Okay. You recall when that order of substitution was entered?
No.
Okay. This entry here on December 21st, 2020, was this work that the Barnett firm performed for Doris Beaty?
Object to the form of the question.
Repeat your question, please.
Yeah, the entry on December 21st, 2020, was this a billing entry that was charged on the account of Doris Beaty?
Yes, this was all under that client number, yes.
Okay, and was this work performed for Doris Beaty?
Well, actually, it was performed for my law firm to get fees.
Okay. And do you know why it was charged on Doris Beaty's account?
Because we represented her in connection with that guardianship proceeding, which generated the fee.
Understood. And looking at the top of this ledger here on page 13, there's a column that says original amount, and there's a second column that says bill amount. What's the difference between original amount and bill amount, to your knowledge?
I think if you take 0.6 of 250, it comes out to 150. You take 0.4 of 450, comes out to almost 180. I don't know. That's the way the software works.
All right, and so towards the bottom, it says total fees, 235.8. Is that the amount of time that was spent on the guardianship of Pete Beaty project?
Yeah, during the 2 years and change, yes.
Okay. And there's two numbers towards the bottom. Under original amount, it's $82,981.50. And then under bill amount, $77,693.00.
Yes.
You recall, is that the amount that was billed on the guardianship of Beaty project?
Where's the fee petition?
Why there's a difference in amount could be relative to the costs that were advanced or a write-off given as a discount. I'm not sure.
Did Doris Beaty pay the
No.
Barnett firm for any services?
No.
Was the Barnett firm ever paid for services to Doris?
No.
Okay. You are, here on this statement of account, you're LJB, correct?
I am.
Okay. And RAL is Rachel?
Rachel Lunsford.
Okay. Do you remember who DKH is?
DKH. No.
Okay, so the Barnett firm prepared did the Barnett firm prepare and file an application for appointment as guardian on behalf of Doris Beaty?
We did.
Okay. Did the Barnett firm prepare and file an oath of emergency temporary guardianship on behalf of Doris Beaty?
It's likely that we did.
Did the firm prepare also a petition for appointment of emergency temporary guardian?
We did.
And also a petition to determine incapacity of Donald Pete Beaty?
We did.
All right. I'm only going to show you one of those petitions. Specifically, the petition for appointment of plenary guardian. 3. Okay. Did the Barnett firm prepare this document for Doris Beaty?
We did.
And did Doris Beaty sign this document under penalties of perjury?
I'll tell you in a second. She did sign it.
Okay.
And it does say under penalties of perjury.
Was everything in the petition for appointment of plenary guardian accurate to the best of your ability?
I would have to reread it, but I would assume it was correct at the time.
Okay. In paragraph 4 of the petition for appointment of plenary guardian, it says, you allege, there are no possible alternatives to guardianship known to petitioner, including but not limited to trust agreements, powers of attorney, surrogates, or advance directives. Did you review any powers of attorney for Doris Beaty, Pete Beaty in connection with preparing the guardianship pleadings?
I may not have. I don't recall.
Okay. You recall reviewing any surrogate documents as part of your preparation of this document?
I don't recall.
Okay. What about any advance directives?
I don't recall.
Would your review of those documents would have been necessary in order to prepare this petition for appointment of plenary guardian?
Yes, whoever prepared it, which I don't believe is physically me, but would have, and so state in paragraphs 5.
Okay. And why would it have been necessary to review those documents in preparation of this petition?
To fulfill Pete's wishes.
Okay. Which were?
To appoint Doris as the guardian.
Okay. Based on this filing, did you determine that Pete Beaty's advance directives and surrogate forms were inadequate and that a guardianship was necessary?
I don't
Object to
know.
the form of the question.
This
Yeah,
is
I'm not-
outside the scope of the limitations of this deposition. It has nothing to do with the motion to disqualify.
Well, his advance directives are related to
What?
the second action.
You have to unwind the settlement agreement before you get to that issue. That's the step one. I don't see how it's the subject of the
So the things
motion to
that
disqualify.
Mr. Barnett reviewed in preparation for
Right,
the pleadings that filed in the guardianship case
yeah.
overlap with the allegations of the Second Amendment
No, they
complaint.
don't.
Yeah,
They really don't.
they do.
Instruction stands.
Okay. All right. Your attorney's instructing you not to answer. Oh.
We're postponing the answer. Hopefully, we'll resolve this issue once you get to a break. We'll talk about it.
In paragraph 6 of the petition for appointment of plenary guardian, you identify two individuals who are next of kin of the ward, James Donald Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty. Were these Pete Beaty's only children?
To my knowledge.
And did the Barnett firm serve formal notice on these two individuals?
Object to the form of the question. That, too, is outside the scope of the issue on disqualification. There are two issues on disqualification. One, whether or not confidential information was disclosed. Two, the question of whether these are the same or substantially related matters. That issue has nothing to do with it.
All right. Well, let me ask you, did James Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty file a response to the petition for appointment of plenary guardian?
I don't remember.
You remember whether James Donald Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty were adverse to Doris in the guardianship proceeding?
I don't remember.
Okay. This is a response and counter petition filed by James Donald Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty in the guardianship case. If you go to the fourth page down in the wherefore clause, you see where the respondents are asking that the court appoint Stephen Wayne Beaty as plenary guardian of the person and property of Pete Beaty?
Steve Beaty requests that should this court determine that Pete Beaty is incapacitated and that a plenary guardian is necessary, that the court appoint Stephen Wayne Beaty as plenary guardian of the person and property of Pete Beaty.
Okay. Is this consistent or inconsistent with the petition to appoint Doris as plenary guardian?
Her petition indicates that Doris Beaty requests the court to appoint Doris Beaty plenary guardian of the person and property of the ward. Those are adverse to each other.
Okay. And who filed, looking at the last page, who filed this response and counter petition on behalf of Pete Beaty's children?
On behalf of Stephen Wayne Beaty?
Yes.
Stephen Wayne Beaty.
Well, the response is on behalf of James Donald Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty. The counter petition is filed on behalf of Stephen Wayne Beaty.
I only have one document here. No lawyers are...
Keep going.
Oh, there's more lawyers. Yes, it was filed by Gunster, Yoakley, and Stewart.
All right. I'll mark this plaintiff's exhibit 5.
Okay.
This is a declaration that proceeding is adversarial that was filed in the guardianship proceeding on behalf of James D. Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty. My question to you, was the Barnett firm still representing Doris Beaty when this declaration that proceeding is adversarial was filed?
I don't believe so. I was copied on service, I see that.
Okay.
But I have no recollection of any of this.
You remember whether the Gunster firm engaged in discovery directed at Doris Beaty when the Barnett firm still represented her in the guardianship case?
I don't recall that.
All right, I'm going to show you what I'll mark as plaintiff's exhibit 6.
6.
Here you go.
6.
My question to you is, do you recall why you filed a notice of filing the declaration naming pre-need guardian with the guardianship court?
To reflect Pete Beatty's intent.
And that was to, did you do it to support your petition to appoint Doris Beaty as plenary guardian?
Yes.
You recall whether James D. Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty ever allege in the guardianship case that the declaration naming pre-need guardian was invalid for any reason?
Object to the question, same parameters as we've discussed before. This is outside the scope of why we're here today. Correct.
Do you know whether James Donald Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty also challenged the validity of the revocable trust?
I don't know.
You didn't represent Doris Beaty in connection with that, did you?
I did not.
All right. Here, I'll show you. Have you ever seen this document?
No.
Okay. This is a complaint for declaratory relief that's often referred to as the trust proceeding. Do you know whether this complaint challenges the validity of a revocable trust that you prepared for Pete Beaty?
I never seen this document. I don't know.
Do you know whether James D. Beaty and Stephen Wayne Beaty were adverse to Doris Beaty in this case?
I don't know anything about this case.
You've never seen a document that refers to the trust proceeding?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and mark the settlement agreement with Doris Beaty. That is Exhibit 8.
Yeah. So make sure you keep track of all these, because I don't.
Have you?
What are you doing, Les?
Couldn't
Don't
read.
look at the man's-
Couldn't read his signature.
Bad handwriting.
Not as bad as mine.
Have you seen this document before?
Settlement agreement? No.
Okay. This is the first time you've seen this?
Yes.
Okay. On, point your attention to recital 7, which is on page 3. It says Doris also claims that she has priority to serve as the guardian of the person and property of Pete by reason of the pre-need declination. I think it means declaration. And that she's entitled to serve as a trustee of the revocable trust by reason of the Fifth Amendment. This is the first time you see that?
I've never seen this document.
Okay. Is that representation accurate, however, that Doris was claiming priority to serve as guardian of the person and trustee of the revocable trust?
Object to the questions outside the scope of why we're here today. Instruct the witness to not answer at this time.
All right. Is this consistent with what you were petitioning to do on behalf of Doris in the guardianship case?
Is what consistent with?
The statement.
I can't parse that language. I don't
Also,
know
I'm going to
it.
instruct you not to answer the question.
Yeah,
It's outside
I
the scope
can't
of why
answer.
we're here today.
Do you know whether this document purports to resolve the guardianship case that you filed on behalf of Doris?
I don't think so, but no,
You don't know, or it doesn't?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I know, but I don't think so.
You know whether this agreement provided any parameters for the Barnett firm's payment for legal fees or services provided to Doris Beaty?
I've never seen it, don't know what it says.
Okay.
Can I say I wish it would?
On page 6, looking at paragraph 7 of the settlement agreement with Doris Beaty, towards the top, it says Doris will sign an authorization to Barnett Bolt.
Where are you? 7 or
Towards the
6?
top of page 6, sorry. Page 6, paragraph 7.
Oh, let's get, oh, yeah, second sentence. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Doris will sign an authorization to Barnett Bolt to release any and all files regarding Pete, the revocable trust, Pete Beaty Ranch LLC, Pete Beaty Grove LLC, or any other entity, including any incapacity, guardianship, and estate planning, including that which may be subject to attorney-client privilege as to his representation of Doris in any of Pete's court proceedings. You've never seen that this paragraph before?
No.
No one's ever communicated with you that Doris agreed to sign some sort of authorization allowing you to release information?
No.
Okay. Have you or anyone at the Barnett firm released any information, any privileged information in connection with the Barnett firm's representation of Doris to anyone?
I don't recall.
May have happened?
Object to the form of the question.
Could have, I just don't know.
Okay. Have you personally done that?
No.
Okay. You were not involved in getting the settlement agreement with Doris Beaty negotiated?
I didn't even know it existed.
Okay. And you had no involvement in it being approved by the court?
No.
All right. On paragraph 7 of page 6, it says, any fees and costs due to Barnett Bolt shall only be paid pursuant to court order. Was there a court order ever entered granting attorney's fees in this case?
Not that I'm aware of. I know I was not paid.
All right. You did take efforts, though, to get paid, correct?
The firm did, yes.
Okay. I'll mark the amended petition for order authorizing payment of attorney's fees and costs. Plaintiff's Exhibit 9. There you go. You recognize this document?
I'd never seen it before. If I had, I don't remember it, but I find it very interesting. Yeah, I did not sign it.
Is this your signature on the last page?
It is not.
That's not your signature?
No.
Okay. It's a Charles?
I don't know whose it is.
Okay.
Looks like Rachel's to me,
Okay.
but I'm
So
not
it
sure.
may have been Rachel's. Okay. On paragraph 6 of the amended petition, it says the firm, as Doris's counsel, was required to confer with examining committee members, complete criminal background checks on potential guardians, and a whole host of things that the Barnett firm did on behalf of Doris. Is this an accurate representation of what the Barnett firm did on behalf of Doris in the guardianship case?
It was so stated by my partner in this petition, and it looks appropriate as to the actions taken.
One of the things identified in paragraph 6 is that the Barnett firm discussed mediation as to pending matters. Do you see that towards the end of paragraph 6?
Yes.
Okay. You recall having discussions with Doris about mediation of the pending matters?
No, I have no recollection of that.
Do you have any reason to believe that someone at the Barnett firm did not discuss mediation with Doris?
I don't know.
Do you know what Doris has alleged in this case regarding what occurred at mediation?
No.
All right, I'm going to show you what I'll mark as Plaintiff's Exhibit 10. It's a notice of withdrawal of the amended petition for order authorizing payment of attorney's fees and costs. You recall why the Barnett firm filed a notice of withdrawal on its amended petition to be paid fees that, for legal services that incurred on behalf of Doris?
Object to the question is outside the scope of why we're here today.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review any iteration of Doris's complaint that was filed in this case?
No.
I mark this verified complaint as plaintiff's exhibit 11.
What is this? I've never seen this before.
Looking at the caption, are any of the named defendants in this verified complaint, were any of these defendants involved in the guardianship proceeding that you represented Doris in?
The ones you're making reference to are Peggy DeVivo,
Yeah, the defendants in that category there.
Brian O'Connell, the Beaty children, and some entities. What about the question now?
Yeah, which of these defendants, do you recall, were involved in the guardianship proceeding that you represented Doris in?
Object to the form of the question, timeframe.
Okay. Were any of these individuals, do you recall any of these individuals being involved in the guardianship proceeding that you represented Doris in while you represented her?
Okay. I'm not sure of this. Peggy DeVivo's name is familiar to me, and of course the two boys. It's the grandson, Stephen James and James D. Jr.
All right. Do you recall whether Peggy DeVivo was involved in the guardianship case while you represented Doris in it?
I think she was, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And certainly Stephen Wayne Beaty was.
Yeah, you've proved that to me.
And James D. Beaty, too.
So you've told me.
Okay. What about James D. Beaty, Jr.?
I did not know he was involved. I knew who he was, but I don't know that he was involved.
So this is the first time you read this complaint?
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard about this complaint?
No.
Okay. So what efforts, if any, have you made to determine whether there is a conflict of interest with the Gunster firm continuing to represent Stephen Wayne Beaty and James D. Beaty in a case against Doris Beaty?
I've never been asked, and I've made no determination.
Okay. Do you know whether anyone at the Gunster firm has taken any steps to determine whether there is a conflict of interest?
I don't know.
Okay. Paragraph 12 of the verified complaint alleges that the plaintiff, meaning Doris Beaty, was named the power of attorney and pre-need guardian of Pete Beaty on December 22nd, 2016. You see that allegation?
I do.
Okay. Does this allegation in the verified complaint relate to any position that you asserted on behalf of Doris in the guardianship case?
Without specific recollection, I would have asserted that she was designated as a pre-need guardian.
Okay. So in that way, it does relate to the guardianship proceeding.
I don't know how to link them up, but yeah. I'm not a trial lawyer.
Paragraph 13 alleges that Pete Beaty clearly wanted plaintiff to be his caretaker and not his estranged children. Is this a position that you asserted on behalf of Doris in the guardianship case?
I don't think so, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I would have asserted that he designated her to be a pre-need guardian.
Okay. And that's different from a caretaker?
Well, there's guardian of the property, guardian of the person. Would be both.
Okay. Paragraph 14 of the verified complaint references the settlement agreement with Doris that you saw earlier today. This paragraph says, second sentence, this settlement agreement was the result of disputes of the guardianship administration in cases 2019 MH 2040 and 2019 CP 2060 in Polk County, 10th Judicial Circuit. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. Does this allegation relate to the guardianship administration that you represented, Doris, in?
I can't say for sure. The designation of the date and the case numbers, I don't know if they match up with what we filed.
Do you know whether the settlement agreement purports to resolve the guardianship case that you filed on behalf of Doris?
I've never seen nor heard about this settlement agreement.
And what was the dispute, to your knowledge, that arose when Pete Beaty's children filed an appearance in that guardianship case?
Well, they didn't want Doris to be the guardian.
Okay. Do you recall whether they challenged the validity of the Fifth Amended and Restated Trust?
I am not aware of that challenge.
Have you taken any actions to determine whether the case that Doris has presently filed related in any way to the guardianship proceeding?
I can't link that up. Repeat it again.
Yeah. Have you done anything to determine whether the present case that we're here on is in any way related to the guardianship proceeding?
I've done nothing. Yeah, no, I've done nothing.
Okay. Let me just take 5 minutes with you.
Sure, take
Yeah.
time. Go ahead. Hey, don't forget
Off the
to...
record.
We're off the video record at 2:32 p.m.